Hi, welcome back to video number 2 of Revit Basic Modeling Step by Step. In this video, we're going to be placing the remaining of the walls, which is the interior walls. Then we're going to be placing doors and windows. And once again, so that we're all on the same page, this is going to be a how-to video. That means I will not give detailed explanation of everything that I do here. But instead, if I feel that further explanation is necessary, I will give you the link on the top right corner of your screen that will give you access to the previous video that I've made on a certain topic. Also, under video description, you'll be able to find a link to download all of the PDF file that I use in this video as well. Let's get started. On the screen is a PDF file that shows walls location. It is a combined PDF, so make sure that you check out level 2 as well. I will start with interior walls on level 1. So to get to wall, we're going to go to Architecture tab, under Wall, and then we're going to go to Type Selector. And what we're looking for here is generic 4 inches wall, which doesn't exist. So I'm going to have to make one. I'm going to use generic 6 inches as a base. Then click on Edit Type, Duplicate. I will rename this to generic 4 inches. And OK out of it. Under Structure Edit, I'm going to change the wall thickness to 4 inches. Then OK, and OK again to confirm. Now I have the generic 4 inches. I'm now ready to add walls. Let me zoom in. Before I place the wall, I want to check on the option. I want to make sure that connected height is set to level 2 with the base constraint at level 1. Then I want to make sure that my location line is set at core face exterior. I'm now ready to place walls. Now, as far as where the location line or which direction the location line should face, it's going to be kind of tricky for the interior walls. The way that I think about this is that which direction wall location line should face is depending on which side of the wall will most likely get dimension later. So for example, if I want this wall over here to later on have dimension from the grid line to the left side of the wall, let me change the dimension option to find the face of core. Then I want my wall location line to be on the left hand side. So now I'm going to roughly place all of the interior walls, then move them into place later. So escape twice to get out from the dimension command. Go back to wall. Make sure that it's generic 4 inches. Make sure on the option bar that's everything we want is there. Double check here on the properties palette. Then add wall. For this wall here, looking at the PDF files, the dimension will be taken from the bottom of the wall. So I'm going to flip this wall so that the location line is on the bottom instead of on the top. Hit space bar to flip the wall. And escape once to break the chain, and I'm going to keep going. I want the wall location line to be on the outside of this room. So I'm going to double check. Looks like they are. So over here, I'm referencing the PDF files on my other screen, and I'm just roughly sketching all of the walls. Then later on, I will move them into place using constraint and permanent dimension. I'm going to be doing some trimming, and the keyboard shortcut for that command is TR. And with trim command, you want to select the side of the wall that you want to keep. For this wall, because the top side of the wall will align with the grid line eventually, I want the wall location line to be on top. And likewise, for this wall, the right side of the wall will eventually be aligned with the grid line, so I want my location line to be on the right hand side. Align, AL is the command, and don't forget to lock. And for the rest of it, I'm going to have to use permanent dimension. So escape twice to get out from the current command. Go to dimension on the quick access toolbar. Then start placing dimension per the provided PDF files. One important note here is when you place the dimensions, make sure that you pick the same size of the wall to place your dimension as the size of the wall that you see on the PDF file. Another important note is if you need to dimension a wall that is aligned with a grid line, pick to dimension the grid line instead of the wall. And once again, if you're trying to dimension a wall and your dimension witness line keep finding the center instead of faces of core or faces of wall, there's an option on the option bar that you can select to change the preference. I think I'm ready now to move all the walls into place. I'm going to escape twice to get out from this command and start moving things into place. For this wall over here, the dimension is going to be 1 feet and 10 inches. But when I look closely, I realize that my dimension witness line is taken from the right side of the wall instead of the left side as shown on the PDF files. So I'm going to have to make the change to it. To make the change, I will select on the dimension and the blue dot that is in the middle of the left hand witness line, I'm going to grab that and then drag it to the correct side of the wall and let go. Now I can continue to make changes to the remaining interior walls. After I relocate this wall, I'm going to place constraint to the distance. By doing that, I'm going to click on this dimension and click on the padlock to lock this dimension, then make a change to this longer wall on the left hand side. As you can see, because of the constraint that we placed earlier, when we make the change to the longer wall on the left hand side, the shorter wall moved to maintain the 1 feet 10 inches. I'm going to make sure to unlock the constraint, then continue with the rest of the walls. 110. Oops. This wall needs to get updated since I forgot to lock the dimension when I placed it the first time. Before we can move on to the second floor, I want to align the end of this wall with this wall over here. So the command for that is AL, and make sure that the tip of the wall is highlighted before you second click, and then lock it. I'll do the same for the tip of this wall and then lock it. Lastly, before we move on to the second floor, I realized that I overlooked one of the wall, which is this one over here. So I'm going to hit escape twice, select the wall, and change this dimension to 5 feet. Now we're ready to move on to the second floor. Notice that one of the wall on the first floor is still selected. To deselect, I'm going to hit escape twice. Just like what we did on the first floor, on the second floor, we're going to roughly place all of the interior walls, then use constraint and dimension to help us place those walls precisely where they need to be. Select wall on the toolbar, then we're going to make sure on the type selector that generic 4 inches is selected. On the option bar under connected height, this time we're going to make sure that it is level 2 top plate, and on the property palette, we're going to make sure that the base constraint is set to level 2. Same with the wall location line, we want it to be core face exterior. We will use the same rule as far as figuring out which side of the wall the location line should be. From this point on, there won't be much talking, so just pay attention on the screen and the PDF file that I have provided. Pay close attention to which side of the wall the location line is. The cyan dotted line along the length of the wall is another indication of the location line. Feel free to pause and rewind if you need to. Here I'm using DI on my keyboard to get to the dimension. Over here, I need to add more dimension to the existing 2 feet 3 inches dimension string. So I would click on the dimension, and on the ribbon, I will click on Edit Witness Line, and from here, we can add more dimension to an existing dimension string. After carefully reviewing the video that I made for the previous step, I realized that this wall, the wall location line is on the wrong side. It needs to be on the left side to match with this wall over here on the first floor. So I'm going to flip that by hitting spacebar on my keyboard. And then I will align it to the wall below. AL on my keyboard. Select the left side of this wall on the first floor, and then align it with the left side of this wall on the second floor. Now I need to adjust my dimension accordingly, so I'm going to hit escape twice to get out from this command. Lock this dimension. Change this dimension to 3/8. And one last wall that we need to pick up on the second floor is this wall over here. I need to change this dimension to 13 feet, then enter to confirm. Then I want to make sure also that I unlock this dimension. I locked this dimension previously knowing that I will need to make a change to this wall and therefore this dimension later. And here we're done with placing walls on the second floor. Hopefully that was clear, but then again, feel free to pause or rewind if you need to. Now we are reaching 15 minutes and this video is getting longer than I expected, so I'm gonna stop this video right here, and on the next video, we're gonna be placing some doors. Thanks again for watching this video and see you again soon.